I try to do it. I try to do it almost every day. I don't do it every day, but I try to. I probably do it maybe like 5 times a week or so, something like that. But the juice that I really like to make that I find is very beneficial for me, helps me with energy, helps me just kind of clean out my system, helps me to just have the health that I currently enjoy, is I make a juice out of cucumber, kale, so cucumber, kale, celery, and carrot. It's pretty simple, but make sure everything is organic. If you're going to juice something, if you ever juice something, make sure them because they have a hard protective shell. But in general, anything that's soft, like berries or anything like that, never eat conventional ones if you can avoid it, you know, because they have no protection from pesticides. You can't wash it off. The pesticides get absorbed by the fruit or the vegetable. Like there's nothing you can do about that. It's ruined. But when you're juicing it in particular, because you're juicing it, you're extracting the juice from it and the liquid and the moisture from it. If it has pesticides in it, you're going to get a glass of pesticides too. You're going to be drinking that poison and those pesticides. You don't want that. So make sure if you do juice that it's always organic. And so again, the recipe that I recommend is kale, cucumber, celery, and carrot. Kale, cucumber, celery, and carrot. And with carrots, don't do too much. A lot of people go overboard on the carrots because the carrots do make it taste better. They add a sweetness to it, and carrots are very healthy, right? It has beta carotene, it has a lot of stuff. Everyone knows that it's good for the eyes, right? But carrots are also very nutritious. They're anti-inflammatory. All these things are very anti-inflammatory. And that's one of the big things that underlies chronic illness is chronic inflammation. All these things help to reduce inflammation. But just don't do too many carrots. You don't want that to be the biggest thing in there because you don't want too much sweetness. You don't want to be drinking sweet juices. I know a lot of us love sweet juices because they taste so good, but I never do fruit juices. Like, don't do fruit juices because they're so sweet, and the fact that it's liquid, it absorbs into your bloodstream right away. Right? So that's the benefit of the juice is that it bypasses the digestive system. Your digestive system doesn't have to do any work. It doesn't have to break down any fiber. It doesn't have to break anything down, and it absorbs rapidly into your bloodstream. That's what makes it so effective, right? You get the nutrients directly infused into your bloodstream, but if it has a lot of sugar in it, it does the same thing with the sugar. The sugar goes straight into your bloodstream, and it can really spike your blood sugar levels. So don't go overboard on the carrots, just a little bit, enough to just add a little bit of volume and sweetness to it. But really, you want to do a lot of cucumber and a lot of celery and a lot of kale. Those are the things that you really want to do. These things are all very anti-inflammatory, and the kale in particular is very detoxing. It's very detoxing. And so all these things together, it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable juice. You know, it's slightly sweet, you know, and I think it tastes pretty good. And so that's a recipe that I recommend to you if you want to get started juicing. It's a really powerful way to just clean your body out, reduce inflammation, and it's just a good morning habit to have. I usually do it in the mornings. So that's all I have for you today, and I pray you all may be in perfect health.
Muy buenos días. Good morning. Happy Sabbath. I am excited to be here one more time at Highland Hills. It's an honor to be in your presence and see plenty of youth around. I remember being here a long time ago when all these youth were kids, and now they're grown, almost adults, and it's an honor and blessing to see everybody as they continue to grow. We're going to go to the Bible. If you can join me, we're actually going to go to 2 Kings, and we're going to chapter 5. And we're going to begin reading from verses 1. We're going to go all the way to verse 15. So it reads, "Now Naaman was a commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he will cure him of his leprosy. Verse 4. Naaman went to his master and told him what the girl from Israel had said. By all means, go. The king of Aram replied, I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter that he took to the king of Israel read, with this letter, I am sending my servant Naaman to you so that you may cure him of his leprosy. Verse 7. As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, Am I God? Can I kill and bring back life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of his leprosy? See how he's trying to pick a quarrel with me? When Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message. Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel. It's interesting when one person hears the news and they start panicking, and yet the other person, cool, calm, and collected whenever they hear that same news. Verse 9. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed. But Naaman went away angry and said, I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hands over the spot and cure me of my leprosy. Are not the Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all of the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed? So he turned and went off in a rage. You know how much trouble I've gotten myself into because of a thought that I had? I've been at the gym, and I remember thinking, surely I can put 350 pounds on this bar and squat it without no problem. Yeah, my back is no longer the same. I can't squat 315 pounds because I thought that I could do it. Because I thought that by now we've been dating for 5 years. Surely we would be married by now, but you're telling me that we're breaking up? A thought. He said, I thought that he would surely come out and meet me, and he went away angry. Verse 13. Naaman's servant went to him and said, My father, if the prophet had told you to do something great, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, wash and be cleansed? So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him. And his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Then Naaman and all of his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept this gift from your servant. Let's bow our heads. Father, I ask today that you speak to us through your word. Soften our hearts that we may listen and understand. In your name I pray. Amen. So when Pastor Mark had invited me to come speak to you, he told me that today was going to be Youth Sabbath. And I appreciate everybody that was participating in the youth, and it's amazing how the youth can do so much, and it's important that they do, that we get them involved. But I've come to realize that I'm not as young as I used to be. As a matter of fact, sometimes I can't even understand what the youth is saying. One time, I remember not too long ago, my son invited me to a soccer game. He said, Real Madrid is coming to Houston. Do you want to go? I'll buy the tickets. And so I said, are you sure? Seriously? So he sent me back a text message that said, no hat. An emoji with a hat with the word no before it. So I was confused. I was like, we're going to go to a soccer game and we can't wear hats? That's just weird. And so he turns around and he says, nah, laugh out loud. what I meant to say is that I'm not lying. I'm being for real. What he meant to say was no cap. No cap. It's like, what? What do you mean no cap? When you say no cap, that's a way of saying that I'm being honest with you. I am not lying. So I was curious. I'm like, okay, I had no idea that was the case, but there must be other things, right? So we're going to educate some of the adults here today, if you don't mind, youth. So, Riz, when somebody says Riz, that means that that person has charisma, that that person is smooth. We're going to use it in a sentence. He's got good Riz. He can talk to anybody. Riz. Okay? What about, this one's an easy one, bet. Hey, you're going to bring the haystacks to the meal today, right? Okay, bet. What does bet mean? It means cool, okay, you got it, deal. Right? This is another easy one. Sus. That's kind of suspicious. That's kind of weird. I don't know about this one. That is highly sus. What about GOAT? G-O-A-T, greatest of all time. MJ is the greatest of all time. I thought surely somebody would say, no, not really. But yes, MJ is the GOAT. Drip. Oh, that drip is awesome. She came with some fine drip this Sabbath. Drip is a cool outfit, right? I see some of the kids like, what is this guy? This is the one that I use actually pretty often. Bruh. Disbelief, or you can't be serious. Bruh, you forgot your Bible again? Disbelief. Oh, this is one that I did not have a clue. Slaps. Slaps. That means that it's really good, especially when it has to do with food or music. That new worship song slaps. Yeah, I did not know that one. What about bussin'? Bussin'. That means extremely good. These cookies are bussin'. But today I wanna focus on the last one. Crash out. When somebody says crash out, when you lose control, when you let anger take over, when you do something without thinking about it. So let's go back and review what we read in the Bible. The Bible says that Naaman turned off, and when up, he crashed out. If you've never been tempted to go off on somebody, or if you've never had your nose flare in anger, your eye begin to twitch as somebody makes you so upset, then maybe the message that I have today is not for you. So this year, I became a volleyball coach for our school. Picture this. Anybody play volleyball or sports? Okay. Picture this. We only played 3 sets in volleyball. So we won the first one. We lost the second one. And the third one, the score was 11-9. We were losing. We were actually on a come-up, though. And I was standing in the back, right looking at the line. When the ball came from the other side that was served, I know that ball was on the other side of the line. That ball was out of bounds. But there's a referee called a line judge that when she saw the ball, she called it in. And I know that ball was out. Man, I had a moment this close to crashing out. This close. Because that point meant so much more in set 3. As a matter of fact, if we would have won this game, that we would have gone to the playoffs. So was I upset? Yes. I was this close to crashing out. So maybe if you had a similar reaction, this message is for you. I don't need to remind you that there's power in prayer. We say pray for our pastors, pray for our leaders. But today I'm going to remind you about a different set of group. Today I remind you to pray for our parents. Any parents in the house? All right. Because there is no greater job than being responsible for a little human. As a matter of fact, we were talking about fear. My greatest fear is failing as a parent. My greatest fear is my craziness putting a cap on the ability that my child has. That it could be because of me that my child is not excelling. That is my greatest fear. And that is why I ask and remind you to pray for our parents. Because our parents, they need the help. As a matter of fact, if you want to get a stronger prayer life, then I suggest you become a parent. Parenting is serious, and I don't want to fail at it. But we also have to do the extra part and educate ourselves into how best we could be a parent. So sometimes I ask the question and wonder, like, why did God make it so easy for us to be parents? Here's my suggestion. I suggest that you have to go downtown, stand in line for 5 hours, fill out an application with 1,000 questions, and then you get approved. Okay, you can be a parent. Or you can be denied and say, no, you can't have a parent. You can't even have a dog. What is the matter with you? That would probably be the better case. There's a story of a teacher who had a classroom. And in this classroom, there was a corner with a sign that said, "Calm down corner." So this was an opportunity for children that were being, that were overwhelmed, that were frustrated. They could go to the calm down corner and write down their thoughts, draw a picture, whatever it was an opportunity for them to calm down. So today, I'm asking you, what is your calm down corner? I guess what I'm really asking you is, what is it that makes you upset? What is it that causes you to crash out? When you get mad, do you, do you hit stuff? Do you throw stuff? Do you say things that you regret later? Because let me tell you that anger is a universal emotion. I'll give you an example. When babies come into the world, do they come saying, "Hello, father, hello, mother, I am quite hungry. Maybe I could use some milk. Could you please provide some for me?" No, a baby comes kicking and screaming and crying. Anger. So anger is a universal emotion. Do you punch holes in the wall? Do you leave? I know that when COVID was around, it was difficult for those people that were stormtroopers, people that would storm when they get mad. Because when they would get mad, they would try to storm out of the house, and they couldn't leave the house. So that was the difficult time for stormtroopers, people that would leave. Are you an erupter? When after you come to your senses and say, did I really do that? As a matter of fact, anger isn't a bad thing. Let's go to Proverbs 14:29. Proverbs 14:29 reads, "He who is slow to wrath has great understanding, but he who is impulsive exalts folly." See, I tend to be more of a stuffer. I don't know about you, but whenever I get upset and somebody asks me, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I'm fine. Stuff it down. I'm good." See, stuffers are the worst because your body can't contain all of that poison that you keep pushing down. See, scientists believe that anger does more damage to your body than grief or anxiety. Anger will destroy your nervous system. Anger will give you a heart attack when you stuff it down. Anger is a problem that we all have to figure out. Anger, I'm going to tell you, is like a toddler. Toddler? You don't want to give the keys to the toddler and have the toddler drive your car. No, right? That's probably not a good thing. But you also don't want to put that toddler in the trunk. You do want to have the toddler in a car seat with the seat belt, and you do want to occasionally look in the rearview mirror to periodically check on the toddler. The reason that I bring this message to you is because there are people that have limited their capacity of what God can do in them and through them because they cannot control their emotions. We find it in the Bible that Moses couldn't enter the promised land because of his emotions. Paul gives one verse in the biblical summary about anger. Ephesians 4:26. Therefore, putting away lying, let each one of you speak truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. So the Bible is not saying to remove anger. Paul is telling us that to be angry is actually could be a good thing. I'll tell you that love and anger are connected. You remember when Jesus got angry and he turned tables? Why was he so upset when he turned tables? Because they had made the temple of God a place to sell. People from far away had to come and buy doves, a sacrifice. And they started making a business out of this. And God was upset because you can't limit the people from coming to him. We don't have to go through a mediator to get to our God. That is why he was upset, because they were limiting who could come to him. So is it okay to be angry? The Bible does not say to get rid of anger. In fact, there's some issues on this earth that should make us angry enough to do something. So not only do we need to control our anger, but we have to be slow to anger. What is it that makes you angry? That person that is driving really slow in front of you? That person that chews with their mouth open? That new quarterback on your team that is still making you lose? See, why do I bring these different things? Because what makes me upset may not make you upset. I'll give you an example. Two people are talking, and one person says to the other, I can't believe what Larry did to me. Well, what did he do? Man, I can't believe this guy. You don't understand. It was so offensive what he did to me. What did he do? I can't believe this. Larry put a stapler on my desk. Can you believe it? A stapler on your desk? Yes, the nerve of this guy. See, the problem isn't the stapler on the desk, is that there's something underneath that stapler. There's a meaning as to why it's affecting him because of that stapler. What is it that makes you angry? Because what makes me angry may not make somebody else angry. So let's go back to the verses that we read. A man named Naaman suffered with leprosy. But let's try to understand where Naaman was coming from. Leprosy is a skin disease that would start with a spot on your skin, and it would get worse and worse to the point where you would have sores, and it would cover your whole body. A disease that causes your flesh to fall off. That is why they had to be apart from everybody, because it was highly contagious. And they would have to yell, unclean, unclean, wherever they went. So Naaman understood that this was going to be him. But let's go back to his history. See, Naaman was a warrior. He had fought through many different battles. He had conquered many different battles. He was strong. He was mighty. And yet, this leprosy was changing who he was. When was the last time that you went to the doctor because you were sick? And your doctor tells you, just go get this ointment, apply it 3 times a day for a week, and you will be cured. Can you imagine saying, "Oh, can you believe the nerve of this guy asking me to put on this ointment 3 times a day for a whole 10 days? Can you believe him, the nerve?" That's what's happening to Naaman. See, we don't look at Naaman as a regular dude. We shouldn't, because Naaman had status. If he was in our day, Naaman would have a blue check on his Instagram account. What does that blue check mean? Anybody? That means that they're an influencer, right? That they have status. He had a blue checkmark status. See, we have to be careful when the thought creeps into our head that as long as we have status or power, then our lives will finally be good. Because let me tell you something that you may already know. Status does not stop the suffering. Oh, you got that brand new car. Surely you're never going to have any car problems anymore. Oh, you got that new house. Oh, you're going to be so happy now. Some of us think that as long as we keep pressing the up button on the elevator to get to the next phase of our lives, that we're going to be happy. But Naaman had already made it to the top. Naaman was at the highest point. He had made it to the top of the elevator. But let's picture Naaman in this situation. Conqueror, winner. And he comes home one day, and you know how we do it when we're in front of the mirror, guys? Flexing. Biceps. Triceps. I could picture Naaman being that way. Bicep, triceps. And then he turns around for a back pose, and he sees a spot on the back of his. That's interesting. That's never been there before. Okay. The next day, he comes back to that same mirror, and that spot is bigger. The next day, he goes back to the mirror, and now that spot is spreading to a different location. And that fear begins to creep in him, knowing that he has all this status, but now he's going to have to change his status into a loner. Somebody that's going to have to be put as an outcast. And he crawls into a ball and begins to cry. When his wife comes in, and she sees him crying on the floor, and she's never seen him cry before. What's wrong? When she notices the spots on his back. It's not that bad, honey. Just put your armor back on. It's going to be okay. Put your armor back on. Just show the good side. Is that not what we do occasionally? It's all right. Just put our good side on where everybody can see our good side. And we hide what's wrong with us under our armor. See, the problem with Naaman's house was that the walls were paper thin. And there was a servant girl who had heard what was happening. And he tells Naaman, all you have to do is go to the prophet. He is the real deal. He is the one that knows a God that can heal you. And you want to know how I know that his leprosy was bad? Because he listened to a lowly servant girl and went. But he didn't go to the prophet at first. He went to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel tore his clothes when he came to him. He said, how dare you come to me, man? I'm just a guy. I can't heal you. You're trying to pick a fight with me, right? So he panics. He crashes out. But Elisha hears this, and he says, no, just send him to me. I know of this God that can heal him. See, the king of Israel, he may have had the title, but he did not have the authority. He had the position, but he did not have the power. See, that's the problem with some of us. We want the title and the authority, but Elisha did not have the title. He just had God on his side. How many of us want to be like Elisha with God on our side? I don't want that title. I don't need that title. All I want is the authority that I'm only given through my God. So Elisha, cool, calm, and collected, tells him, come to me. There's another time that I want to focus on before we close, about a time that Jesus was upset. You may have read it. It tells a story of a fig tree. So Jesus was hungry. I don't know if you guys are still hungry right now, maybe, so you can relate. And from a distance, he sees a fig tree with leaves. He says, all right, fellas, let's go. Let's go get a snack. You see that fig tree? Let's head that way. The thing is that when he gets to that fig tree, there was no figs. See, the thing is that the Bible does say that it was not fig season. So why is it that Jesus was upset with the fig tree if it wasn't fig season? So I had to go look it up. I did a little bit of research. Let me tell you the flow of a fig tree. On a fig tree, the first thing that may come out is a bud. After the bud comes a leaves. And then after the leaves comes the full fruit. Bud, leaves, full fruit. So it's a bud, then it's a leaves, and then it's full fruits. The bud was edible. People would actually eat that bud. So when Jesus sees leaves at a distance, he automatically assumes that there's going to be a bud. But when he got to the tree, there was no bud. So what does he do? He curses the tree. May no one ever eat from this tree. You see that fig tree, I wonder why was it he so upset to curse a tree? See, that fig tree was showing signs of life. A big, beautiful leaf surely meant there would be buds. But when he got closer, there was nothing there. And if we're being honest, sometimes we are like fig trees. We look the part on the outside. We post the verses on our social media. We dress right on Sabbath. We come to church on Sabbath. But if someone looks closer at our lives, the way we talk to people, the way we forgive, or the way that we don't love, they wouldn't find the fruit. They would just find the leaves. See, it's possible to look like a Christian, but live like the world. To share scriptures on your social media or spread messages of division or talk divisive in the name of Christianity. That's called false advertising. When what we show doesn't match what we live. But not only is it disappointing, but it's also dangerous. It's dangerous to advertise something that you don't really have. I want to take a little break for a second. I don't know about you guys. Sometimes we rush out of the house and we don't eat breakfast. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take a quick second to take a break and take a small snack break. If you can help me, sister, brother, we're going to go ahead and bring out a nice little snack. Hopefully it's nearby somewhere. Brother Chavez? It's coming. All right. So, yeah. Sometimes we need little snacks. Sometimes we need to take a little break, right? I know it's kind of odd, but I wanna show you this little snack that we're gonna bring by. Hopefully it comes soon. All right. Oh, no salió. Okay. I want to focus one more time on the fig trees and the leaves and why that's important. Because a lot of the times we can show something on the surface and have something else going on underneath. We can put on a perfect facade on the outside, but inside we are being something different. Thank you, my brother. So here we have some pancakes. Breakfast of champions. Delicious. Anybody like pancakes? Yes, delicious. You know what? There's nothing like a good pancake. But even more, you can't have pancakes without syrup. Good point. So I brought me a little syrup here. Oh, man. That looks good. You know what I could use too? A little bit of butter. Butter would be good too right now. Okay. You know what? I took a little bite, but I don't know. Anybody else hungry? Yeah? Anybody else willing to come and eat? All right, sister, why don't you come on up? But before you take a bite, I want you to smell this real quick. What does it smell? Smells sweet?
Sweet, yeah.
Okay. Okay, it does smell kind of sweet. What about right there? It doesn't smell like syrup. Huh. So I take it, do you want to take a bite? Probably not, huh? Yeah, you know, thank you. I don't think I'm going to give you this to you. But, you know what's interesting about syrup? That it actually looks pretty close to motor oil. It looks quite similar to motor oil. As a matter of fact, it looks exactly like syrup, but in honesty, this is motor oil. See, not only is this deceiving, but it's also dangerous. You want to know what's even more scary? That's real syrup. That doesn't look too different, does it? As a matter of fact, if I were to stand at a distance and see those two, I'd say, oh, you know, that could pass as syrup. That is exactly what was happening when Jesus came up to that fig tree. At a distance, he says, surely there's going to be a snack for us. But when he gets closer and he sees what it really is, he curses the fig tree. Not only is it dangerous to show something that is not, let's imagine that you were hungry, really hungry, and I would have given this to you. That would have caused real pain for you. That would have hurt you. The same way, when we put on this facade that we are Christ-like, it can be dangerous when somebody comes looking for God and they don't find God in you. That is why a lot of people have trouble coming to church, because they don't see God in the people. So it's dangerous when you show leaves but you have no fruit. Don't misinterpret my words. No Christian is perfect. There is no human on earth that is sinless. But if I were to put my faith in Jesus, I will sin less. This is false advertising. As a matter of fact, this still says 100% pure syrup. Both of them say the same thing. False advertising. Jesus wasn't angry at the tree because he wanted a snack. He was upset because the tree was pretending. And I think that's what we do sometimes today. So I ask you, don't just look fruitful. Be faithful. Don't just show leaves. grow fruit. Because God isn't fooled by appearances. He knows our authenticity. So Naaman says, I thought that he would come out to see me. He didn't even come out. See, the servant knew who Naaman was. And he went to Elisha. Elisha, you got to come out. We have this guy that's coming with a blue check status. He's coming with a Bentley chariot. He's coming with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horsepower. This guy's the real deal. You need to come out and see him. But Elisha is like, you know what? Just tell him to go wash himself in the river 7 times. And Naaman loses his cool. He crashes out. What? How dare he not even come and see me? Let's go. I'm not dealing with this. But his servant was like, Master, you've done so many great things. And you won't do the small things that has been asked of you? Sometimes we are in the same boat. He wants me to do what? No, let's go. I'm out of here. I'm asking you today that it's more special to obey than to miss out on your blessing. Listen to the word of God, because if you don't, you may miss out on a blessing. So he says, okay, fine, I will go. This is so silly. Sometimes we feel that way when we're right at the edge of the river and the enemy is telling me, what are you doing? Dude, you're gonna listen to this guy? You're going to get in this dirty water and you expect to be clean? That's how the enemy talks to us. What are you doing going to church? You know what you did all week. What are you doing in that place? But Naaman stepped in the water. It's crazy. He dipped one time, looks down, nothing. Dips the second time, still nothing. Man, this is crazy. I can't believe this. He dips 5, 6, and he's ready to give up. There's no way I'm going to be healed in this dirty water. And see, that's where sometimes we lie, right at the edge of our blessing, and we're getting ready to quit. But I'm here to tell you, don't quit on your faith in God. Because you might be right at the edge of your blessing. Dip for the 7th time. And that is exactly what Naaman did. And when he came out, he was cleansed. The Bible says that he wasn't just cleansed. The Bible says that his skin was like what? Like a child. He was made new through God. So if you're struggling today with whatever you have going on, that false advertisement, claiming that you're a Christian and doing things on the outside, whatever it is that you're struggling with, don't forget to dip for the 7th time, because God can heal you and change you. Dip for the 7th time. Naaman comes out and he goes back to Elisha and he said, now I know that there is no other God than the God of Israel. He says, take these things. I got to pay you for something, because I can't be healed and not give you anything. And sometimes that's how we are too. He's like, surely I'm not saved, Lord. It can't be, grace can't be that simple. So we try by our own strength to win our salvation. Maybe I got to tithe more. Maybe I just need to sing louder. Maybe I just need to, you name it. I'm here to tell you that there is nothing that you can do more to win your salvation, because it is a gift. Salvation is God's gift to you. His grace covers you. So Elisha says, I'm not going to take your gifts. Naaman has one more request. He says, then let me take the dirt from where you are at, so that I can have a constant reminder of the God that is in Israel. and it would remind me to stay faithful to him. You know, I don't know, again, what you're going through, but I will tell you this. God can be using you and your testimony to reach out to somebody else. God could be using you to bring somebody to him, to the light. It is our job to stay faithful to him and to listen to his word. As we close, I want to challenge you this week to take a closer look at your life. Not your leaves, but your fruit. Ask yourself, what am I showing the world about Jesus? When people look at my life, do they see peace? Do they see patience? Or do they see anger? We are called not to crash out. We are called to stand out. Maybe today you realize that you're right at the edge of crashing out in anger and frustration, in pride. But the good news is that God doesn't cancel you when you crash. He restores you and he forgives you, just like he did Naaman. When he was right at the edge of crashing out, God restored him because of his faith. So today, ask the Lord, that anger that burns inside me, turn it into passion for your purpose.